All right, Bart from Bicycle Rider YouTube. Bart Luther, also owner of Biloxi Bicycle Works. It's Saturday, May 3rd. We just closed up the shop for the day. It's almost 6 o'clock. And I haven't made many videos this week, so I do appreciate you guys, pay attention to my channel, seeing how my little bike shop is doing. And, generally just what bike shop life is all about in a small, local bicycle shop that works with their community quite a bit. Now, I was trying to do daily videos. I've had trouble doing that over the last few weeks just because the shop has had an influx of business. That's a good thing. It's sad that I can't just pick up the video camera during a lot of this stuff and show you some of the day-to-day interactions that happen in this place. But it's amazing the people that come through the bike shop. It's amazing the cool little coffee shop we have next door and what downtown Biloxi is turning into. And of course, we're starting to get springtime all across the United States, but it hits down here in the south sooner. We've had some really, really nice weather, and when you have the nice weather, you get people wanting to come into the bike shop, and they get interested in bicycles. And there's a lot of people that are already interested in bicycles that are maybe looking for a different bike. Bikes are kind of addictive. You might get into a mountain bike and then decide that you don't really want to ride that mountain bike around town all the time. Then you want to ride with your family. You want to be comfortable. You don't want to have to wear spandex. And you buy a cruiser, or the opposite. You buy a cruiser, and next thing you know, you want to start going faster, so you want a hybrid or a road bike or gravel bike. So bicycles are addictive, and I'm an addictive person myself, so I fall right into that trap. It's hard for me just to have one of something. Like, I don't have one fishing pole, but there's several different types of fish I like to catch, so I need different fishing poles for different sizes of fish, and I need a different fishing pole for saltwater fishing compared to freshwater fishing. And that goes with bicycles too. There's so many different styles of bicycle. And that's one of the reasons that, the staff in a bicycle shop is, you have to know so much. You have to know about the different hybrid bikes, the step-throughs, why they call them a low step, or a lady's bike and a man's bike. We don't really use those terms anymore. And it's not because they're not politically correct. It's just a lot of men buy a step-through bike anymore. And, a lot of women decide they want a regular diamond frame step-over bike. So you've got to know the difference between carbon fiber road bike with electronic shifting and carbon wheels, more of a aero style road bike, and like this one's a new Madone that blends two worlds. It's a climbing bike and an aero road bike mixed together, and you have to know everything about Shimano Di2, and you need to know about SRAM Access GX and everything in between. So I'm kind of getting to the point where people say, well, Bart, why don't you hire more help? Well, help is hard to find when you need to be so specific about your skill sets. And you can hire, an attractive person to answer the phones for you, but if they don't know what kind of answers to give, then it just gets passed off again to the people who know the answers. So, the thing is, bicycle professionals, people that work in bicycle shops that know and care about their job, and want to help people find the right products. It's not a culture of sales. Like in my shop, we don't work on a commission basis. We all work together to, make money for the shop, but we also work together with the community and our customers. I mean, the last customer came in, he was a Keesler airman. He was out of Keesler Air Force Base right down the road. And he walked in holding a seat and a seat post. Right away, I realized it was a Marin seat. And we sold Marin bikes for a long time. He felt confident right away that he didn't have to explain that was a seat off of Marin, that I just knew what that seat was. And after years of working in a bike shop and being a bicycle geek, like I really care about bicycles, and you have to know so much to do it, that he was impressed that I knew that that was a Marin. It didn't say Marin on it. I just knew what it was. But he wanted the seat post cut, and of course we were able to take care of him on that, and it's good. He didn't just grab his hacksaw and try to hack it off, because half the time you get it crooked, and then you get metal burrs. So we were able to do the job correctly. But he did mention that he bought that bike from us a couple years ago. That he hadn't been back, but he brought his daughter in, and he got his daughter a bike today. And he said that a few years ago when he bought that bike, that he could tell we cared about our customers, and he gave us a good Google review. I thanked him for that, because that's important for a local bike shop. So sometimes reviews, God, it's hard, because we give such good customer service most of the time, and it's hard to say all the time, because sometimes you're dealing with situations and that you really don't deal with, and when it's repeated over and over and over again, and you get tired of it and you get short. It's a lot of times you're short because you want to move on to the next customer, and because you've got a customer that you can't really help, because they've bought this bike off of a department store, and they keep breaking spokes, but they don't want to buy a new wheel. They just want the spoke replaced, and they want it replaced right now in the middle of a busy Saturday afternoon when you're working with other people. And when you have to tell that customer, look, I can't replace your spoke right now, but if you drop your wheel off, we can take care of it, next week. And the next thing you get a bad Google review because of the Walmart bike. And, sometimes I have to tell people that, the department store bikes, I can't just look at that spoke and tell you what spoke size and what it is. Like, you give me a Trek, a Specialized, a Giant, a Cannondale, name brand, I can usually figure out what the customer needs. But on some of these department store bikes, they're built in so many different factories, and they're not really built to standard. And I can usually cut a spoke to make it work, but it's an art form, and it's not something you can just do with the snap of your fingers when you're working on multiple other things and you're short-staffed anyway. And I say short-staffed. Right now I have 2 full-time mechanics, myself and Alana as sales, and then Pete can do sales or mechanic. I can do any job in the shop, so I pivot quite a bit, and I'm a personality for the shop, so I spend half my day standing around talking, and I don't get to just sit back there with an apron all day and work. And right now, as you guys know that watch my channel, revenue, it hasn't been high, so it's hard to justify bringing more people in, even on a temporary basis, because it's hard to find a temporary employee that knows enough that I feel comfortable to let them in my shop and just talk to customers. And it's not one of those on-the-job training situations anymore. On-the-job training kind of went out the window a long time ago. On-the-job training starts in the winter months when it's slow and you can work someone up, but on-the-job training in a bicycle shop doesn't happen in a week. At least it doesn't happen here at Biloxi Bicycle Works, because I'm very attached to this shop, and I care about all the information that's giving out of this shop. And if someone's giving the wrong information, I don't want it to come out of the shop. Like I'm a Kuat dealer for the Kuat racks, and I had a customer come by the other day, and they're wondering why their bike keeps shaking loose. But whoever they bought that Kuat rack from, it wasn't my bike shop, suggested that they put the Kuat hook about a foot away from the front fork. Well, Kuat's directions say you mount that, you put that hook as close to the fork as you can. And not out here, because out here there's a leverage problem and the bikes can shake loose. I have a Kuat rack on the back of my van right there, and I can go mountain biking. I put my bike on there correctly, and I don't look in the rearview mirror because I'm confident in that product that it works well. But that's what I'm talking about. She said, well, why would that person tell me to put the hook here instead of here if this is where Kuat wants me to put it? And I said, look, I can't answer that question. And I didn't want to say that bike shop employee was incompetent and shouldn't have told you, because that was a safety concern. So I'm not going to cut down the industry, but I'm just saying that that's the kind of information I don't want coming from my shop. If someone were to drop that bike on the highway and my employees are the one that told them to mount that here. Of course, the customer does have some responsibility to read the instructions themselves, but that's why you walk into a bike shop, because we know when we use those products, and we can confidently, like any of my employees could confidently put a bike on that Kuat rack and show them how to use the functions of that rack, and especially how to mount that rack or mount the bike where the bike's not going to fall off. So God, that's just one example, and I can tell many other examples. When someone walks in and they have a lot of people want their seats, a new seat, you know, and there's different style widths of seat rail, and of course there's different attachment hardware that mounts up seats onto either quill style or a rail style. You know, that's just one example. What size tires? You know, bottom brackets. I mean, it gets really complicated for the bicycle mechanics as far as, you know, bottom bracket spacing, wheel spacing. A lot of people ask if they could just put drop bars on their you know, hybrid bike, and you know, the answer is yes, we could do anything, but the cost involved in some of that stuff, because it's not just an easy swap. So let me give you an example. If someone walks in with gosh, I must have sold that bike today. We'll look at this one. Someone decides they want a drop bar style bike or a drop bar on this style bike. It's not really the bike that's kind of made for it. So you can't just put a drop bar in this stem right here and then hook these, you know, shifters and brakes up, because it's a different situation. You know, you need something more like this, something with a hood and a brake lever and shifter that's made for a drop bar, not something like this on a flat bar. And then of course your shifter and brake lever is mated to your derailleur and the style brakes you have. So it gets complicated. For us that work in the bike shop, it seems kind of easy, but these are the questions that we have to offer, or we have to offer our expertise every day on, and we're glad to do it. We love doing it. You can't hand that off to someone that just walks into the bike shop because they need a job, and the bike shop is a cool place to do it. So it does put the owner like me, someone who really, the owner like me, who cares about their business and the reputation of their business. You've got to really be careful about the level of employee that you can hire. And right here in Biloxi, Mississippi, there's a lot of jobs at casinos and restaurants and other places that people can walk in and get a job and not have to know so many little bits and pieces. And I'm not saying a waiter doesn't have to know the menu or how the chef's preparing the menu, but you know, I don't want to say anybody's job's easy. But bicycle shop personnel is definitely not an easy job. It's a fun job, and I gotta have to say that, you know, I love coming to work. You know, like owning Biloxi Bicycle Works, and of course you guys know I have the shop up for sale. So I mean, I've been answering that question a lot, and I do have a professional, just like you would have a real estate agent. If you have to work your job, you don't have all day to sell your house. Well, I have a professional that's helping me, a broker that's helping me with a business that has my profit and loss statement, my P&L statement. They have all my information. They have my business plan. They know how we can make this profitable. And they take the time, that's their job. They take their time and explain that to people that are interested in my bicycle shop, you know, the nuts and bolts of it. And of course, I'm here for it. But I'm also running the bike shop all day, so I just don't have time to answer the questions. But I get a lot of people right now that are in the community that are asking me, hey Bart, you're selling the bike shop, where are you going, what are you doing? Well, there's a lot of different options. I mean, I hope I get someone that wants to partner up with me and continue this right here. You know, another option is someone might want to buy the bike shop and hire me as a manager or a business developer. If you get me outside these walls, believe me, I can bring a lot of money into the shop with all kinds of ideas I have and connections with the city, the state, you know, the community. So, and I do like working in here, but sometimes to make, you know, business, you have to have someone out there on the outside that's bringing that business in. Boy, I can do a fantastic job of that too. Or I might have someone that just wants to buy the bike shop and say, Bart, you're running this thing into the ground. You gotta go. Well, then I'll go get a job. You know, I mean, I started this bike shop because I love the industry. I have a passion for it, and I'd like to continue that passion. But at the moment, you know, Biloxi Bicycle Works, my staff, and having a bike shop in downtown Biloxi is very important to me. So if that means I've got to go, I've got to go, but I'll find other ways to make money in the bicycle industry. I hope. I don't really want to go back to accounting, even though I have some great job offers as to be an accountant right now, but that's not really where I want to go again with my life. So. Anyway, moral of the story is we had an awesome week in Biloxi Bicycle Works. Revenue's up because of bike sales. Repairs are up because people, it's springtime, they want to ride their bikes. Part sales are up because people need parts to fix their bikes. We need parts to put on bikes. And there's the tariff situation. Oh gosh, I need to do a whole video about the tariff situation. In a way it's kicking me in the nuts. Boom! To raise prices that people already think are too high. But on the big scope of things, I think it is going to save the bicycle industry because there's too much cheap crap getting into our system, into the U.S. marketplace, that people are getting a bad taste of the industry because they buy these cheap bikes and all of a sudden no one can work on them, they break quick, parts are expensive, they go to the bike shop and we recognize it right away as a department store bike. That's not really what we want. We want to work on bike shop quality bikes. We will work on department store bikes, at least Biloxi Bicycle Works will, but a lot of times we have to explain to the customer the nuances of that. And this is peak tune-up season. We love to tune up a Trek. We love to tune up a Cannondale. We love to tune up a Giant, a Specialized. Bike shop quality bikes. I don't really like touching department store bikes. We do it because we care about our community, and we know some of those people, they bought those bikes not realizing what they bought and how cheap the quality is of those bikes. So we prefer, it's just like, in other industries, you don't want to pick up someone else's mess, and we spend a lot of time, working on frustrating bikes that are just going to go back out of tune again really quick. Where, if I tune up a Trek, it's going to stay in tune because it's made out of quality materials, it's designed to stand the test of time. And a lot of these, bikes like you're going to get at the department store are basically throwaway bikes, which is I don't agree with that, with all the materials, aluminum, rubber, the manpower, the transportation for it to just be thrown away a year later, to me is a big waste of resources. You get a Trek. I'm going to say that because I have a Trek right here. A quality bike that doesn't have to be tracked. We can repair those bikes. They're going to last for a long time, and then the manpower that went into making those bikes and the transportation to get the bikes from one country to the other is not wasted so quickly, when a bike lasts 1 year. And that's what a lot of departments bikes do, 1 year. And then it's in a landfill. That's a waste of resources. But tariffs are going to stop a lot of the cheap stuff from coming in, or it's going to raise the prices up where people realize I could just go buy a bike shop quality bike. I could do a whole video, and I will, about the tariffs and the cheap e-bikes coming in, because some of these cheap e-bikes really are so cheap, it's hurting people. We just put when you see a direct consumer e-bike come into the shop and the people can't figure out why the brakes aren't working and the forks are backwards and the headset is so loose and their kids are riding these things at 28 miles an hour. The parents don't realize that someone's going to get hurt on those bikes. If you buy it from a bike shop, we care about you. We're going to make sure that things are torqued, that things are built correctly, assembled correctly in the first place before you go out there and, you can have an accident anyway, but if you have an accident because the handlebars pull out of the bike, that's a whole different story. That's not going to happen out of Biloxi Bicycle Works. That's not going to happen out of most bike shops because bike shops care about the people they're selling bikes to. You don't get into this industry to make a lot of money. You get into this industry because you have a passion for it, and you love to share that passion with people looking to put a positive spiral in their life with health, fitness, happiness. Bicycles bring all that. We did a community ride last night to Biloxi with close to 100 people, and I saw families smiling. I saw old people finding that fountain of youth. I saw people that had worked all week long and were stressed out, happy by just simply riding a bike. There's so many cool things to owning a bike shop, and I get to see that every day. And that's one of the reasons I haven't picked up the camera, because I've been so busy wearing multiple hats that I haven't had a time to pick up the camera. Now, our problems are not over at Biloxi Bicycle Works. Believe me, we're still looking, we're still in a situation where I need to find a buyer for this shop to keep it going, or an investor, or a partner, or I mean, there's multiple ways we can spin this, but when the shop is up for sale, it does mean a lot of different things. At least we've got a good community bike shop that the community has welcomed us with open arms and realized that they need a bike shop in this neighborhood. I was buying some bolts at the hardware store, and the local hardware store has been here for a long time too, and they thanked me. They said, gosh, thank you, Bart, for bringing a bike shop to downtown Biloxi again. Please stay. I'm like, look, I want to stay. I need some financial help to make it happen. So they were relieved that I just don't want to just move away, But, you do have to make a living at what you do, and right now I'm having trouble making a living in the bike shop. I'm not this week because there's such an influx of people, and it doesn't always have to do with the people in the business coming in. I have too much overhead. I realize that as an owner that a lot of the situation that we're in right now is because I've made some of the wrong decisions, and I have too many square feet for when at COVID we had to scale up really high, and I should have scaled down. So a lot of the problem is me. I made some bad business decisions, but I love this bicycle shop. I love the way it looks. I didn't want to scale down, and I was hoping for the best. And with the economy and the tariffs and the bicycle industry, it's really put a hurting on us. But this place does have a lot of hope, a lot of positivity. So I've been working my butt off lately, just like a lot of small business people are. But at least when I come to the bike shop, I'm happy. Like I don't mind working here. And then I get to ride bikes with my community afterwards. So this week I got to do a Wednesday night fitness ride, which was, oh God, that was great. It was a very, very good ride. I got to do a community 5K fun run with the community, all right here. I did a Friday night fun ride with the community. That wasn't fitness pace. That was a party pace social ride. We did that last night. And then today I got to ride a Circle the Bay road bike ride. It's been a great ride. And then tomorrow I get to go to Bogachito State Park and ride my mountain bike. I don't know if I'm going to bring my Super Caliber or I might bring the rental bike. I might bring the Top Fuel. But Bogachito State Park, it's about an hour and a half away from here, and Louisiana's made an amazing, tomorrow they're going to unveil a new trail called the Cortez Coaster. It is world class right here in this area, so I'm really looking forward to getting out and riding bikes, mountain bikes with my friends tomorrow. I tell you what, owning a bike shop is awesome. So to my viewers, you've probably seen some shorts come out over the weekend or over the week, so I've been making these little clips just off my cell phone and throwing those out there. But I'm going to attempt to do more videos. I'm going to do a deep dive into the tariff situation and how I think that's going to help the industry. Like I said, it's going to kick me in the nuts right now. I mean, really, it's hard. But I think there's too much cheap crap being coming into the United States right now from different countries that is not priced fairly. So when Walmart can sell a bike for $200 and my less expensive bike is $500. There's a big scope there. You get so much of a better bike. You get a cruiser. You can get an electric cruiser that will last you for years. You go down to Walmart, and I don't mean to pick on Walmart, but that just seems to always come out of my mouth because a lot of people are buying their bikes from Walmart. Then there's one called the Panama Jack. It's a cute bike. It even has a place where you can put your cigarettes and your cup holder and a comfortable seat and an awesome paint job. Yeah, go try to put air in your tires and they pop off the dang rims. And then they end up here. I don't even want to put air on those tires. It says max pressure 40 PSI. Go try to put 20. Next thing you know, the bead is popping right off the rim. So people are like, why? I said, well, you bought a department store bike. Either the tires are oversized or the rims are undersized or the mating surface isn't made right. Like that doesn't happen on a Trek. But we get more and more cruisers that are bought from the department store because they're cheap, but they look good. So you can't blame the normal consumer to walk into the department store and see a bike that's a beautiful color and it looks great, and they buy that thing for $150, and then they have problems with it, and they bring it to me, the bike shop. Like, I'm tired of working on that stuff. Like, I'll work on a Electra all day long. It's a quality that doesn't even really need much work. These are so solid. I don't know. I don't want this video to grow too long, but you guys, I'm going to do more on the bike shop, more on tariffs and how that's affecting bicycles right now. But how I think it's going to help in the long run. Hopefully bike shops can survive till the long run. All right, more on that. Hey, if you guys have any questions, some things you want to talk about, if you're interested in buying into an awesome bicycle shop, I'm not making this crap up. This is an amazing place, and it would be someone to have got such an opportunity. People say, I wouldn't touch a bicycle shop with a 10-foot pole right now. This is not a normal bicycle shop, and Biloxi's not a normal town, and the Gulf Coast of Mississippi is not a normal geographical place. This is absolutely amazing, and I can prove on paper that it can be profitable. We just have to reduce overhead. But people are coming into the shop every day, happy, excited. You know, our reputation has got around, and it's a good reputation. Like, people want to be part of this tribe. You know, I was with another bike shop owner today. We work with Gulf Coast Bicycle Club. So on the first Saturday every month, he does a potato nut ride, which is a social ride revolving around these special potato donuts. Yes, this is the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, and these donuts are awesome. So he does a community ride. I do a ride that goes around Biloxi Bay in this urban area, and we meet up together. So I got to see my buddy Duncan, who owns another local bike shop. Like, we get along, and the community gets along. This is not a cutthroat type of place. Like, we get along here, we have fun, and this is one amazing place to have a bicycle shop, to have a lifestyle that revolves around healthy, happy people, and helping people get healthy and happy. So not everybody that walks through, like, there was a duathlon this morning. I missed the duathlon because I was doing my own ride. I won my age group last, 3 weeks ago in the last one, but I skipped this one because I had to do a ride maybe on the first Saturday a month. I can't really do the duathlons, but there's always some kind of event going on around here. So look at our Facebook page. I know we're on YouTube right now. Look at Biloxi Bicycle Works Facebook page here. I'll get my business card. So that's my business card. Biloxi Bicycle Works, Bart Luther. That's our little sign. Oh, and my name's Bart Luther. You can look at my personal Facebook page. Like, I'm an open book, and I love my lifestyle. I just, I love my lifestyle. But finances are dictating that I need to ask for a little help with this bicycle shop. And that help can come in multiple forms. But I don't want to wait till it's too late. Like, I'd rather ask right now to see if I can find a cool business. But someone that wants an amazing lifestyle can move in for the price of a BMW. You can buy into a bike shop that can take care of itself. It can make money. Like, you're probably never going to get rich, but if you're on your, you've already made some money and you just want something cool, a cool lifestyle to go along with it, something that can stay. My staff is amazing. They want to stay working. They can run this by 3 people can run this bicycle shop in the building right next door. The way I have it set up, there's 3 different buildings, and 3-4 people have a hard time, it stretches out my labor too much. So that's part of the problem right there. It's not the bicycle industry. It's not trying to get sales in the door. It's not trying to get repair in the door. That stuff is all happening. It's reducing cost. I don't want to take this video talking about that. If you want to talk in detail, talk to Lauren from Coastal Consultants. She also is a bike rider that's been on plenty of our videos. So she's got a passion for Biloxi Bicycle Works as well. So, and she has all our numbers. If you're curious, if you want to change your lifestyle, if you want to change other people's lives better and you want to be part of that, buy into Biloxi Bicycle Works. This is not supposed to be a commercial about Biloxi Bicycle Works. This was supposed to be I'm closing up the shop on Friday or Saturday, and I haven't really put out many videos. And I start rambling, so but I do get excited about this whole subject. So anyway, I'm going to shut off this video. I got a couple of little things I need to do to my bikes, and then I'm going to go home and make myself a healthy dinner and get some rest and see the sunset so I can get up early and go on a road trip with my mountain bike buddies to Boca Chico State Park tomorrow. I'll try to bring a video camera with me. All right, Bart from Biloxi Bicycle Works. Bart from Bicycle Rider YouTube. Bart Luther. You know, I don't hide my identity. And if you like what we do on Bicycle Rider YouTube, like and subscribe. Thank you guys for hanging with me. More videos to come.